I made this video like a month ago about like getting jacked will change your life. And I had a lot of people who were like, no, this is 100% true. Some people who went through it and they're like, it changed my life. And some people were like, that's not all that there is. And to be honest, they're not lying. I think that they misinterpreted the video, but at the same time, you do need to become multi-dimensionally jacked. That's really what I was saying. And that's what this whole channel is about. You need to be multi-dimensionally jacked as a man to live the peak experience that a male will be able to live on this planet. So I want to go over what each of those pillars are, what each of those multi-dimensions are, or each of those dimensions in the multi-dimension of being jacked is, to help you understand why it's important to be well-rounded, not just physically, but with everything else. So there's 5 pillars. We have number 1, obviously, physically jacked. Number 2, we have mentally jacked. Number 3, we have financially jacked. Number 4, we have spiritually jacked. And number 5, we have socially jacked. Yes, those are the 5 pillars that you need as a man to master, right? Being jacked essentially means you've mastered something. That is my definition for it, right? From a higher level than just being in shape. But let's start with physically jacked, right? You know what that is. You know, cut your body fat down to about 12%, 12 to 13%. That's pretty good on average. If you can get it down to 10, even better, right? You want to make sure you have as little body fat as needed, but keep it at a healthy amount. So I like to say 10 to 12% is perfect. From there, you know, make sure that you're functional, make sure that you can move, make sure that you're athletic, because you're gonna need that. Make sure that you're aesthetic as well. So keeping, you know, each muscle group balanced, making sure that you're symmetrical, right? Like making sure that you just look good, because when you walk into a room, I've said this before, people notice and people will make judgments based on how you look, based on how they perceive you. So you need to master these to be able to accelerate in life and to even have a good, solid life, right? Get your cardiovascular system in check. You know, go do sprints. I do high interval sprints 3 times a week, right? 20 seconds on the treadmill at full speed, 10 seconds off. I do that 10 rounds. This is something basic you can do 3 times a week that will speed up your cardiovascular system. Do high intensity interval training. That is the physically jacked part. And obviously nutrition. Eat whole foods. You don't need to count calories with that. I'm gonna actually go over an entire day of me, or I'm gonna go over an entire day of me eating, not the entire day, but I'm gonna give you a layout of what I would eat and how I structure things throughout the day. That's coming soon. But the nutrition side, you need to dial that down. You need to figure out how many calories are your maintenance calories, how many calories do you need for a caloric surplus, how many calories do you need for a caloric deficit, depending on what you need, whether it's to lose weight or to gain weight, right? Lose fat or you wanna gain muscle. Or both, right? You want to figure out what that looks like, what the macronutrients you need, what's the right balance for that. So that is the physically jacked side. We get that, right? Now let's talk about mentally jacked. So what does that mean, mentally jacked? That means that from a mindset perspective, like you're very strong, you have an iron mindset, right? I made a video before called The Mindset of a Conqueror, right? You want to be able to have this mindset to where you can get through hurdles. You have resilience over a lot of things. You have a growth mindset. You don't have a fixed mindset. A lot of people have fixed mindsets. And what is that? That is a mindset where you get into a problem or there's an obstacle and you don't like to be able to think your way out of that problem, that obstacle. You stay with it or you move backwards and you try to find a different route because you do not want to learn the necessary skills, the necessary frameworks to be able to break through the obstacle and get to the other side, which is what a growth mindset does. A growth mindset is always learning, is always trying to figure out what's next, is always trying to figure out different ways to get through an obstacle. They never get held down by a specific situation that's keeping them where they're at, right? Fixed mindset will always remain the same. Growth mindset will always improve over time, right? And being resilient is also the number one thing that you need to be able to go through life as a whole, right? Understanding how your mind works, understanding positive and negative thoughts, right? And how to actually mitigate negative thoughts in your mind and be able to transmute those negative thoughts into like positive actions. So that's just a summary of being mentally jacked. You just want to be mentally strong, right? That's really all it is. Be mentally strong so that you don't have to suffer through life, because everything in life starts with the mind. Everything. Your reality is based on what you think in your mind. Your mind is where you plant the seeds. to the garden of reality. And there are either weeds in your reality, which is a very bad situation financially, from an environment perspective, the friends that you're attracting, or it blossoms flowers, fruit, vegetables, things that are good for you, right? So wealth, friends who are actually beneficial, like that all starts in your mind and how you think and how you move through life. Everything in life starts with a thought, right? So that's mentally jacked. Now let's talk about financially jacked, right? So whether you want to start a business, what does that look like, right? Do you want that business to take over your life? To be honest, in the beginning, you're going to be working a lot because you need to get the business from 0 to 1. 0 to 1 is that kind of like slow phase, that grind phase before you start to scale beyond 1. I don't want to get too in depth with business topics in this video, but you need to understand there is the entrepreneur that builds a lifestyle business. So whether it's a coaching business or a social media business or something that fits your lifestyle. And then there is the enterprise entrepreneur that builds real companies that have enterprise value. So tech companies, really big manufacturing companies or anything that has to do with business to business, that is the enterprise entrepreneur. The lifestyle entrepreneur builds businesses around their expertise. They build like digital products. They sell things online, things like that, right? So you want to figure out which of these you're going to be from a financial side, what you're going to get. And if it's not being an entrepreneur, maybe it's corporate. Well, what are you doing corporately? I believe the two best paths that you can take are being in tech or being in sales. Those are the two things I would recommend. Being in tech or being in sales. Being in tech, what could you do? Well, you can learn how to code. I wouldn't even recommend that because we have Devin AI that's replacing everything. But you also have, other skills such as project management, which honestly is also being replaced. But then we have cybersecurity, which is not being replaced. It can never be replaced. You have sales within tech that you can do as well, right? But even on the sales side, right? Like being able to sell a product, you can literally work at any company. You can work at any financial firm selling financial products. You can work at any tech company selling software products or hardware products even. You can work for another creator online that has a high ticket offer that you can sell on their behalf and take 10% of all the profits that you bring in, and they're bringing all the traffic, so you don't have to worry about that. Sales is, and you can start your own business. When you start your own business, you're selling. You're selling the idea to people, you're selling the product to people, and you're selling yourself to people, right? So as the entrepreneur that has started this. So sales is very, very important for you to know, especially if you want to be financially free. Sales is the key to financial freedom because everything that you have can be turned into money if you know how to sell. So that is being financially jacked. And also understanding cash flow management. Understanding like when you have money, what does that look like? What's the cash flow cycle of the money that you have? Do you make money every month? Do you make money every day? Do you make money every 2 weeks? Do you use a credit card and then do you pay off that credit card at the end of the month with the money that you make so you can manage that cash flow cycle, that cash flow system, right? These are things that you have to understand. How much cash is coming in from the business versus the taxes that you have to pay? How do you mitigate taxes, right? This is being financially jacked, understanding what that looks like. Investing in stocks, investing in crypto, investing in even options, learning how to trade even if that's something, building different streams of income. That is being financially jacked. You will always be good. You will always have something going on, right? So we talked about physically, mentally, and financially jacked. Next, we talk about spiritually jacked. This is very important, and I think this is very controversial for a lot of people because people have different religions that they follow. And this is the framework that I like to say. I believe every religion has has something good to provide to society, right? It has structure, it has just a community, it has a way of packaging up information about spirituality, about God, that someone can actually understand for themselves. So if it's the religion route you want to go, maybe it's Islam, maybe it's Christianity, maybe it's, Buddhism isn't really a religion, it's a way of life, but let's say Buddhism, let's say, just any of it, right? Find what works for you. Find what you resonate with the most. Read the different books if you're not sure which one. I would say if you got something from your parents, I would say start to look at other things and really just cross-reference and see if that's even something that makes sense to you. because a lot of us are scared to dive into the spiritual side and understand religion for what it is and look at different religions and seeing what they offer versus what we are currently experiencing in the religion that we've chosen. Because if you're very strong in your faith and your religion, nothing that you read can ever deter you away from that. If you feel like you can easily be deterred by reading other religious books and texts, then you're not strong in your faith and your religion. I'll be very honest with you. And I know a lot of people are going to hate on this, but it's true. If I was a devout Christian and I've read everything, I would want to read other books just to challenge my thought process, to make me stronger in my own faith and solidify why I'm even a Christian. The people who are scared to start diving in and learning about other religions, just from the perspective of learning, they are not secure in their faith. So that's what I would always recommend. I'd also look into the metaphysical side of things, right? Understanding, atoms being light particles and how we're all living in pretty much a simulation, because if all atoms are light particles and everything is made of an atom, that means everything is light. And your computer is made of light as well, right? Or your computer emits light, which is what you see. So clearly we're living in a simulation. Everything is a light particle. You can manipulate reality, right? Based on how you understand it. These are different metaphysical things that you should also look into. Right? Understanding thoughts versus reality, understanding how to actually develop your thoughts to be able to create specific realities that you want, understanding how to have a quantum leap, right? In terms of progress, understanding like meditation. Why is it important? Like how to properly meditate, right? For me, I don't meditate as much because I like to police my own thoughts and I like to be able to coach myself in my thoughts. So understanding how the thoughts play up, right? Understanding frequency, energy, vibrations, all of these spiritual, metaphysical topics you should definitely understand on top of whatever religion that you have, because this helps you have a more advanced understanding about how life works from the spiritual realm. Understanding the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and the fifth dimension, and understanding what that looks like. Understanding how the universe works, the 12 universal laws, right? The 12 laws of the universe. Understand that. This is being spiritually jacked, right? Understanding how to read people's energies. That goes into now being socially jacked, right? So being socially jacked essentially means that you just understand social scenarios, situations, you know how to maneuver them, you know how to talk to people, you know how to read people, you know how to speak to women, you know how to attract women, you know how to attract business partners, you know how to conduct yourself in a room depending on what crowd it is. You just know how to be you're socially aware. Right? You can read people. You can understand how people think. You read psychology books, right? Surrounded by Psychopaths or Surrounded by Idiots. Those are two really good books to understand people, believe it or not. You can also read the Laws of Human Nature, right? You can read that book as well. Really, really good book in terms of understanding human nature and just really just analyzing people, understanding how to be on the right side of people, right? Understanding how to persuade people, right? Persuasion is a really good book by Robert Cialdini, I believe. I forgot the full name, but he has Persuasion and another book, something about influence, right? So I would read that and just learn more about how to actually like work with people, learn more about how people's minds tick, right? Understanding psychology, understanding people's minds, understanding like what specific words trigger different emotions, understanding emotional, like how people's emotions work, being emotionally mature or having a high EQ, emotional intelligence. That is how you become socially jacked. And imagine having all 5 of these on point. You will literally be unstoppable. Nobody will be able to touch you. Nobody. And that's what I'm working towards. That's what this channel is about. We talk about different pillars. I'm going into details of each one. I will get a lot of hate for a lot of them because, to be honest, some of them aren't as friendly to everybody, right? But at the end of the day, we have to talk about these things. So become multidimensionally jacked if you want to be the greatest possible version of yourself as a man that you possibly can be. And society will thank you for it, right? People will thank you for it. And you will have an incredible life. You will have the ultimate life lived on this planet. So I hope this video was helpful to just go over what those 5 things are. Maybe you took some things that you want to go learn now. But I will be going in depth for each one of these and in each individual topic within each of these pillars. So I'm excited for this. Sign up to the newsletter. We talk about each pillar every day. We send emails out just basically going over different topics. The email list is growing insane. It's free, by the way. But we talk about all of these topics in there, and we talk about what new releases we're going to be having. So the link will be in the description. If you want to work with me directly as well, the link will be in the description as well, and within my email list. But I appreciate y'all. Comment, like, subscribe, share this with a friend that is looking to be multidimensionally jacked, because that's what we're going for on this planet, right? Yeah, I will catch you on the next video. I appreciate y'all again.